When you look at sports like the NBA, you prefer to think about the athletes and the skills that they have on the basketball court. You prefer to just watch the games and cheer for your favorite teams and not necessarily subscribe to all the not so nice things that can happen on a court. Sadly, the NBA players are human, and that means they can make mistakes, even when that mistake is cheating with another player's spouse. It's not cool. And it's not fun to talk about, but here are 7 NBA athletes caught cheating with a teammate's wife. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 7. Andrew Bynum. Given who Bynum was on the court, this honestly shouldn't be too much of a shock that this allegation still hovers around him. The talented big man was an all-star and 2-time NBA champion on Kobe Bryant's Lakers teams, but his career remains widely considered a disappointment in light of weight issues, knee issues, and dedication questions that left him out of the league before his 27th birthday. Whether laughing upon getting benched for attempting a three-pointer, smiling in the immediate aftermath of a tight playoff loss, or rehabbing his knee at the Playboy Mansion, Bynum's maturity and attitude were regularly called into question, including an allegation that he slept with his coach's wife. Not cool. The incident, which involved then Cavaliers assistant coach Jamal Mosley, is believed to have transpired while both player and coach were in Cleveland, which then resulted in an immediate suspension for conduct detrimental to the team. Not long after that, he was out of the league for good, and that's not surprising. His career overall has been tarnished despite being a 2-time title holder. But when your off-the-court stuff becomes bigger than your on-the-court stuff, yeah, that gets noticed. 6. Jeff McInnis. If you don't remember Jeff McInnis, he was a solid player from the University of North Carolina, won Player of the Year there, and then went on to be NBA Rookie of the Year. So, what did he do? Well, at just 21 years of age, McInnis reportedly carried out an affair with the wife of Coach Phil Ford, who was 18 years his senior. Despite denials on the part of the young point guard, the rumors continued to linger. McInnis would later acknowledge that he may have gotten caught up in a big hug from Ford's wife, but that was it. Interestingly, both McInnis and Ford ultimately made their way to the NBA in the years following the rumored incident. So what was this, or what wasn't it? We likely will never know, and that's probably for the best, but something definitely happened and no one really wants to confirm anything, which in this case is probably for the best. 5. Karl Malone? By the standards of this list, things mercifully didn't get very far between Karl Malone and Vanessa Bryant during the mailman's lone season with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2003 to 2004. In fact, there is little evidence to suggest that things between Malone and the wife of Kobe Bryant extended beyond some flirty banter. But when you've got one all-time NBA great eyeing the wife of another, it'll certainly get basketball people talking, which of course it did in spades. So the story goes, Vanessa happened upon Malone clad in a cowboy getup one day and said, "Hey cowboy, what are you hunting?" Malone was supposedly quick to respond, "I'm hunting little Mexican girls." To be fair, Malone's comments hardly seem to be overtly sexual, even though it's weird. Vanessa isn't entirely innocent in the interaction, but the veteran power forward should have known better than to mess with the wife of his team's central star. Kobe, for his part, wasn't shy about openly expressing his displeasure over the comments made from a teammate who had also been a close friend. The Lakers didn't suffer much from the rift, still reaching the NBA Finals, but the relationship between the two men was never the same. And that's why you have to be 100% on your game in terms of what you say, else cause problems. There were 1,000 different things that Malone could have said, but he made that crack and as a result, problems happened. 4. Shaq. When you picture Shaq in your mind, you no doubt picture the NBA All-Star who has a great personality and flair for the theatrical. But you also likely know that he's a flirt, and that got him in trouble one time in a big way. Details remain murky over just what went down between Gilbert Arenas, Shaquille O'Neal, and Arenas' fiancée, Lauren Govan, back sometime around 2010, but social media posts by Arenas at the time certainly point to some bedroom antics taking place, if you get our drift. If anything did happen between Govan and O'Neal, it isn't as though the big Aristotle would have been interfering in a blissful union. Arenas and Govan underwent a tumultuous partnership plagued by subpoenas and disputes over child support and payments. But you still don't mess with a fellow NBAer's girl. There's a code here, and it may have been broken. The messy allegations once again came to light recently as Arenas engaged in a custody battle with his now ex-wife. An explicit and outspoken Instagram post from Agent Zero used the hashtag #ItchyO'Neal, implying not only that Shaq slept with Govan, but that he also gave her an STD. Arenas certainly has reason to be suspicious of the affair, given that a text exchange allegedly between the two that had come to light. You can choose whatever side of this you want, but it's clear that something ain't great. 3. Shannon Brown. The 2011 Western Conference semifinals saw the Dallas Mavericks steamroll the Los Angeles Lakers in a series sweep so one-sided that it prompted questions about what had gone wrong with the defending NBA champions. Particularly underwhelming for the listless Lakers was Pau Gasol, who averaged just 13.1 points per game in the series and looked so uninterested that coach Phil Jackson felt compelled to yell at the Spaniard on the sideline. Gasol's disappointing performance, coupled with the team's general lack of cohesion, sparked speculation over whether teammate Shannon Brown had shacked up with Gasol's fiancée, Sylvia Lopez Castro. Brown, who was married to R&B singer Monica, was said to have slept with Castro midway through the season, with Gasol learning of the affair right before the postseason began. Apparently, Castro had gotten into something of a catfight with none other than Vanessa Bryant, suggesting that Kobe's wife had slept around, an allegation that prompted Vanessa to turn the tide and out Castro's cheating ways. This was said to have led to a full-blown locker room brawl between Gasol and Brown, not to mention fracturing the engagement of Gasol and Castro and sending team morale into a downward spiral, which played out badly, as we noted. There's nothing worse in an NBA locker room than a lack of cohesion in the playoffs, and sleeping with another man's fiancée, yeah, that'll get the cohesion to disappear. But we're still not done with the Lakers and their crimes, believe it or not. 2. Derek Fisher. There was a break in the monotony of the usually drab NBA training camp media coverage back in 2015 when reports emerged about an enraged Matt Barnes driving 95 miles from Memphis Grizzlies camp to, according to sources, beat the S out of Derek Fisher at Barnes' own house. The beef between the two NBA vets has been long-standing and has been forged on and off the court. Off the court, the feud is a deeply personal one, centering on reality TV star Gloria Govan, the girlfriend of Fisher and the ex-wife of Barnes. It was the relationship between Fisher and Govan that sparked Barnes' rage-filled cross-state trek in October 2015 as the hard-nosed forward reportedly grew livid when his twin 6-year-old sons told him that Fisher was at the house. In an incident that was investigated by the NBA, Barnes and Fisher apparently exchanged punches at the house in a fight that was significant enough to attract the attention of local police. Fast forward 2 years, Fisher and Govan remain together and Barnes still doesn't seem terribly fond of his one-time Los Angeles Lakers teammate. Not hard to see why. 1. Paul George. There's a bit of a mystery regarding NBA player Roy Hibbert. He seemed destined for greatness and then fell off the map, as it were. But there may be one reason it happened like it did. His teammate got personal with his wife. It was back in Indiana, where Hibbert enjoyed his best years, that suspicion began to percolate regarding the relationship his wife, Valerie Cook, had with the team's star, Paul George. Now, PG-13 isn't entirely new to sex scandals, having reportedly impregnated a Miami stripper while dating the daughter of Los Angeles Clippers coach Doc Rivers and getting caught up in a catfishing scandal. Though neither Hibbert nor George have paid lip service to it, the rumored affair is said to have even set off a fight between fellow Pacers Lance Stephenson and Evan Turner. Turner apparently took exception to Stephenson speaking openly about the situation at practice, prompting fists to fly. George is still in the NBA and getting paid big for the Clippers, making this story more of a tragedy than anything else. So, what do you think? What do you think of this deep dive into the personal lives of certain NBA stars who have gone and done some terrible things off the court, or were alleged to have done such things? Which of these players do you feel less positive toward now that you know this about them, or does this not affect you at all in terms of what you think of them? Do you know other players who were alleged to do these types of things? Let us know in the comments.